When economic uncertainty arises, some adults are driven to go back to school to boost their credentials. So, if you're considering this as an option right now, there are a few things to think about before you submit your college application. Hey guys, it's Justine with the College Investor Investing and Personal Finance for Millennials. So, the first thing that we'll want to take a look at is why people are driven to go back to school when the economy is down. Why is that? Well, for starters, the job market is down, so a lot of people are tempted to go back to school in order to boost their education in order to get a better paying job. Another reason might be that they're in an opportune time to do a career change or finish a degree that they started a long time ago and now they have the opportunity to do so. Now, what's interesting to note is that back in 2008, during the Great Recession, enrollment was 12% higher than the previous year, and enrollment by older students increased by 20%. So you can see that this was actually a very popular thing to do back when we had the Great Recession. During an economic downturn, a lot of people were turning back to higher education to complete their degrees. So if you are thinking about returning to school, there are a lot of costs to consider, right? Beyond basic tuition, you're going to have to factor in costs like student fees. So oftentimes when you get accepted into a university, individual colleges will have additional student fees. So if you are applying for an MBA and you're going through a College of Business might have their own separate student fees as opposed to a different college like Arts and Sciences. So you'll want to pay attention to that. Also, of course, you're going to be paying for textbooks. Even if they're online, I've seen it, that you're going to have to pay for textbooks. And then technology. If you need a new laptop in order to do your coursework online especially, this is going to be an additional cost. And then a lot of times colleges are requiring students to have a healthcare policy in order to attend their school. So you got to think about healthcare. Housing, if you need to be close to campus, housing is an additional cost. And then the interest on student loans. If student loans ends up being in your future, and maybe in your future again, you have to think about the interest rates on those student loans and how that's going to impact your overall financial picture. Now, older students can face additional costs. Think about transportation to and from the university. So you may not live close to campus or on campus, which means you'll have to drive in if you are doing in-person classes. And then also if you have kids, you're going to have to think about additional expenses for childcare. So if you're working on group projects, even just studying, you're going to need somebody to watch your kids while you are taking care of your courses, and that can be an additional expense that can quickly add up. However, if the benefits still outweigh all of those costs, there are a few questions that you can ask yourself, and that is whether or not you can attend your university and the courses full-time or part-time. Part-time might be able to save you money. And then also think about how long is it going to take for you to finish this degree? Are we talking about just a couple of credits so that you can complete a degree you started years ago? Or is this a full-blown 4-year commitment that you are going to have to undertake? If you are still working, you're also going to have to figure out how to balance your full-time work schedule and then also your coursework. And plus, just making sure that you are selecting the right college for you. Online courses are a big bonus right now. So you'll want to pick a program that has that flexibility to complete your courses online if that's important to you. Next thing that you'll want to consider is how you're going to cover all of these costs. There are scholarships still available, but if you are working full-time, your employer may have tuition reimbursement programs in place, especially if the degree that you're going after applies to your job title and responsibilities. That's something you can ask for, and sometimes they'll do a partial reimbursement on that. And then of course you could always cash flow your tuition and just pay for the courses one by one as you save up the funds in order to complete your degree. And lastly, yes, student loans are still an option, but again, remember how that impacts your total debt balance. If you have existing student loan debt, it's only going to add to it. And then you need to consider those student loan interest rates. So bottom line, should you return to school when the economy is so rocky? It really does depend on your situation. If you are looking to further your career and further your finances, you got to make sure that that degree aligns with that path. Now, what's interesting to note, and this could impact your decision, maybe, is that during the Great Recession in 2008, just 55% of degrees were completed. So while there was an influx of people going back to school, it didn't necessarily benefit everybody because not everybody completed their degrees. But if you're on board for this path and you're ready to do it, make sure that you ease the burden of student loan debt by saving for college, and you can do so using free tools and resources that we have available to you in our Saving for College tab at thecollegeinvestor.com.